Hello, how are you all? It's been a couple of weeks, and to start with, last time me and Hugo had technical problems with LinkedIn. The first thing I need to know is anyone out there? Are you watching? Is this coming through to you on LinkedIn, or am I going to have another half hour where I'm talking to myself? I really hope not. I talk to myself a lot, like I'm sure a lot of you do, but normally it's just inside my big old Easter Island head. So, can you see me? Can you hear me? Am I coming through the airwaves on LinkedIn? Please do drop me a comment. Yes, it's working. Phil, thank you very much. Hooray! It's working. Brilliant. Chantel, how are you? Good. This is better. I already feel better now. Something's worked. Phil's doing some great stuff at ECO outsourcing. We'll talk about that next week, I think. Tom, how you doing? Nick, brilliant. G'day, mate. Yes, we can. Oh, this is good news. This is good news. So we can start then with my first. Oh, brilliant. Thank you, Roman. I know there's a bit of a delay from your comments to you, me reading them, but I will try and be as quick as possible. First of all, let's start with the question to ask you is, do you have senior agent positions in your contact centers? And also, do you run team leader academies? So I think for academies, I know there's different terminology like grad bays. So do you do the same thing for your team leaders, or do you have a step up, or are people going straight from agent to team leader? I'm doing a talk at the Call and Contact Center Expo, 22nd of November, and your feedback is going to help me with some of the content. But when we move people into this critical condition of team leaders, is there a step up? Are you having a step up? So let's get that on the ticker. Do you have senior agent positions and or grad bays for team leaders? I would love to know the state of our industry when it comes to helping people make that transition. I know of some centres that do have senior agent positions. Sometimes, though, those are promotions that reflect seniority and helpfulness, but aren't necessarily the halfway house between an agent and becoming a team leader. So please do let me know, in your experience, you might not be running a contact center right now, but you are in the industry, of course. So what do you see? What is out there? Is it the norm to have positions in between, sort of in a hierarchical sense? And also, do you see kind of academies where people are trained on what it is like to be a team leader? I would love to get your feedback. If anyone has got any views on that, let's have a chat about that. We've got a lot to get through today, so I'm gonna keep going, and we are now gonna have a favorite section for a lot of you, and that is the news. You will notice that I changed the date. It did say the 28th of June. Now I've brought it up to date. And this is some news that I saw. A report was conducted by, it's called the Conversational Nation Report by CM.com, and it analysed travel firms. And as Heathrow Airport's announced potential impositions of caps on passengers around a busy time leading up to Christmas, it revealed that nearly half, so 48% of all inquiries to the UK's leading travel companies across all of their channels were actually being unanswered. And it looked at the top 25 operators, and these were common customer inquiries about their travel. As you can imagine, we know this part of our industry gets a lot of contact about flight changes, and especially as a result of the pandemic. Yet just 1 in 5 brands were able to provide responses. Let's have a look. We've got some comments coming in. The company I'm currently working at, they do not necessarily promote. Oh, so this is about the previous question. So let's go back to that. They have internal bureaucracy like staying at least a year to move into any higher position as an agent. So again, there's some kind of, you would like, and Roman, in that year, is there kind of dedicated training? Being in centres with and without, it's been a case where the best sales or service agent has been elevated without proper support, can be very detrimental to the new leader and their team. Clayton, it's good to have you on. Clayton's previously been mentioned on this show as someone to follow, so please do follow him because you get this kind of insight. And you get it delivered, not written, but when he's talking, he's got a lovely South African accent. And I think this is something that we see often, isn't it? That you will hear people say, don't necessarily promote your best sales or service agent to team leader. It's a very different skill set. And if you're not assessing the skill set, then it can actually be detrimental to the team and also to that person who probably does want to progress, but just because they're good at their job doesn't mean to say, or the best at their job, it doesn't mean to say that they're going to be a great team leader. Hey up, Dan. It's Grim up north. Dan, you'll be mentioned later, so do hang on. Here she is. Lovely HE. Helen, the Magic Weekend, which is the title of my speech. And yeah, to Clayton's point, exactly. Agent on a Friday, TL on a Monday. Hey, Danny. I've never understood having an arbitrary length of service before you're considered for a specific role. It tends to be a symptom of not having true talent spotting and development processes. Absolutely spot on. It's quite archaic, really, when you think of it, isn't it? That there's a length of service, and that's often, in my experience, been the case with these senior positions. You say, "Oh, we're giving her the senior position because she's been here 5 years and knows everything." Well, if that's your criteria, yes, it's great that you've got some longevity and you're helpful, but that isn't always the key thing. Get in. Yes, this is going to be my my speech at the expo. You're all contributing towards that now because I haven't quite written it yet. Oh, Peter, mate, the sun is out today up north. Thank you. Did it scare you when you saw it? Oh, Peter. So the news, just getting back to that, is it's pretty negative there for travel firms. And the reason I wanted to share this is leading on to my next point, which is I did a podcast and it's going to be out next week. So I won't steal. It was Eugene Neal, who is the Director of Business IT and CX for Digital CX for Love Holidays. And they're doing some amazing work with chatbots. But he corrected me. And this is the next thing I want to talk about, because as well as Eugene, Love Holidays, this is a future episode. You may remember Phil Jordan episode, which is available now. He was at HomeServe. He's now at Sabio, and they did some amazing stuff with chatbots. Something Eugene said to me was he prefers the terminology digital assistants, and the reason being is that chatbots are kind of quite linear. There's logic based around a decision tree, whereas now the technology with conversational AI means that digital assistants can have more conversations with you. And like I say, I don't want to steal all of his thunder from the episode, which will be out next week. It's a really good one. But what he was saying is their digital assistants from the get-go took up 30% of all customer inquiries. So it would be good to hear people's... Am I behind the curve on this? Are you now calling everything digital assistants where you would previously call them chatbots? It would be interesting to get your views on that. Let's just go back to this, because Danny, you're right. The approach is so poisonous to culture. Do not get me started. I don't mind getting you started on culture. Danny is an expert on culture. We will be doing a podcast on this where we can pick his brains in some detail. Good evening from down under. Sun's out here too. Fell off my chair at a bank I worked at where agents had to remain in their roles for 2 years before they can move. Just lazy HR, leadership and planning. Wow. And when you think that we are all now, Alistair, is that you? It's come up as LinkedIn user. I hope it's you, Alistair. I need to talk to you about something later on. But that kind of thing doesn't help when we're trying to attract talent from other sectors. When you say, oh yeah, you're going to be in the role for 2 years. Danny, then attrition increases. Things that come easy. Oh, it is, Alistair, great. Things that last don't come easy. Oh, that's lovely. That's true, actually, in so many things. The podcast, doing this doesn't come easy, but hopefully it's going to last. Digital self-serve, I believe, is a term also being used. Yeah, correct, Phil. Eugene, again, kind of educated me on that when we did the podcast. Alistair, it is you. I've got it now. Thank you, mate. It just needed a rebrand. Digital assistants is a far more friendly term. The word chatbot immediately makes me shudder. They don't understand northern sarcasm, so can't chat with me. Very, very true. Now, I want to take you from... here we go, Peter. I don't think it matters what they're called if they're used to deflect customers for the wrong reasons instead of supporting better outcomes. What a lovely sentence. Pete's on fire. It's so true, isn't it? I think deflection doesn't serve our industry well if that's the main point, is just to kind of move customers away without thinking what's the best way to get their the outcome that they need and make it a nice process. There's some... I'm really tempted to start just stealing all of Eugene's words and letting you know, but you're going to have to wait. Digital assistant or chatbot, the most important thing is to ensure it's customer focused and delivers on outcomes. We have got some progressive people here. Luke, thank you, mate. There's a very Antipodean feel to this to this show today. I love it. Pete's point is a one note. Everything else is irrelevant. There you go. That's mic drop there. I want to share with you now a simple game. I've done it myself. I read about it the other day and I thought, oh, this sounds very simple, but I do want to share it. And it's called Play Customer Show Off. It's a game you can play, and it doesn't matter if your teams are in the contact center physically or working from home, or you have a hybrid. Very simple. Get a whiteboard. And again, you could do that physically or virtually, because you could just ask people to send you a Teams message or have a shared whiteboard. And what you do at the start of your team shift is you just ask them to write up recordable things the customers said. It should be positive or it can be interesting. Collect all of those points that people have written up, the words that their customers have said. And at the end of the day, you choose a winner and reward that person however you want to. It's brilliant though, and it sounds so simple, but the reason it's brilliant is it naturally makes your team members listen a bit more, because they're listening out for the words that their customers are saying. It's a little bit of competition. You can make it fun, and you find out some really interesting things. Once you've got it all and you've chosen your winner, it's really important to share that with the team, and it then lends itself to you talking to the team about the difference they are making to customers. Because having been an agent myself, those reminders about the value of your job and the difference you are making both to the company or to customers is a nice positive reminder. It gives you that lift again that you might need, because otherwise you just get stuck in the monotony of your contacts. So this is a real nice way of just being present with the customer, making a list of some of the great things that they say to you, and allow people to write stuff that you, at first glance, you might go, well, what the customer just said, thanks very much for sorting this out. That isn't just a throwaway kind of comment. It's really, really helpful. Hey, Bev. Bev loves the show off game. It is a really, really good one. Danny, I'm completely amazed at the length of your call queue. There's lots of connotations to that, mate. I don't think we can go into all of them. I'm assuming you mean that it was really short and that you got through really quick. Yeah, you might have to kind of moderate some of the responses that you get, or you leave them in. Hey, Gary, love that phrase, be present for your customers. I think this is kind of how we've evolved a lot more, isn't it? That we're talking to our team members about mindfulness and being present and active listening. It all makes sense. And yeah, thank you, Gary. Brilliant conversation. PSG Analytics are looking to help make a difference in this sector for staff. Great. We'll have to check that out. Hey, Simmer, how you doing? Great idea. I'll definitely be feeding this back to our teams. Brilliant. Love that. Please do let me know how you get on with it. Hey, Clayton, great point. Agents need to know the game plan and how valuable their contribution is to that plan. This game shows that nicely. I developed that over time, that kind of constantly, regularly, let's say, not constantly, but regularly talking to my team about that what they were doing would make a difference, no matter what it was, whether it was debt collection, whether it was talking to teams about solving issues with the product or the service that they bought. Everything that our customer facing team members are doing makes a difference. It makes a positive difference to that customer's day if you can resolve their query in a friendly, efficient manner. What is better than that, you know? And it's very easy for us to forget that in all the different things we have to talk to our teams about, that's really important. And we've got some great teams out there. You know, we're already in award season. It's like hunting season. We're in award season, and there's a lot of them. But I think it's great to celebrate that kind of success. But rather than just waiting for yearly events, we can be talking to our teams every day about the difference they make. And this is a good one in that it comes from them and should hopefully generate some really nice conversations. Now, talking of great teams, I want to do a shout out, and I did it last time, but I was talking to myself for the whole time. So it's a shout out up north, and this is to the Nespresso Customer Relationship Centre leadership team. Front and center in the middle of that, can you see him? There he is. Look, is Dan, and he is surrounded by Andy, Joe, Jordan, Olivia, Ben, Dave, and Dan. And I just want to read what Dan said about his team. I love little moments like this. Dan said, the team's attitude, ability, and tenacity is an inspiration to Dan every single day. Not only are they delivering exceptional results, but they're leading the way and delivering some excellent innovation this year. All summed up, I couldn't be more grateful to have them as my team. So well done to the Nespresso Customer Relationship Centre leadership team. And I do know from Dan that these guys work hard, but they also play hard as well. So, and isn't that the way it should be in our industry? So Well done. And thank you, Dan. Anyone else that would like to shout out to their teams, all you need to do is just let me know, contact me, get me a picture and some words as to why you'd like to shout them out, and we can do it on the show, and then you can share it with your team or get them to watch. That would be great. Love the team shout out. Phil, thank you very much, mate. Let's get yours on there. Oh, damn. It's mutual, buddy. Right, let's now go to 3 events coming up. So, yes, Gary, well done, Nespresso. Those guys are great, genuinely. So, tomorrow, the community conference. It's the forum. It's an in-person event, and it is in Chesford Grange Hotel in Kenilworth. I'm going to be there. Pete Dunn's going to be there. Helen's going to be there. I may even bring. She's not very well today, but it's planned that my stepdaughter Harmony is going to be there for work experience. So I'll have to be on my best behaviour and work hard. But if you're going, please do come on over and say hello. And Pete is doing like a 20-minute TED talk on quality. Now, I always share one of Pete's top quality tips. We haven't got one today because he's been trying to whittle down all of his knowledge to 20 minutes, which I know is a challenge. Talking to Pete, comms that empower your operations to know the what and the why, not just how, are key to keeping your teams engaged. I'm flabbergasted how often we see companies treat the people who represent them as the face, voice of their brand like mushrooms. Get well soon, Harmony. She's in the room right above me, actually, but she's asleep with a bit of a temperature. But hopefully, she is going to rock up and see our world. Come and see our world. Which, you know, any 13-year-old, what a day out that is, coming to a contact center conference. Thank you, Chantel. Now, I've got an episode dropping tomorrow, and I know I can get carried away about the podcast. Please, 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 if you only ever listen to one, and it's not the first one with Mia, which is still always going to be my favorite, Peter Krykant is a guy who works in the charity sector, and I just came across, we weren't connected, I came across a post that he did on LinkedIn where he mentioned contact centers, and genuinely it is one of the most inspirational stories I've heard of about our industry. Peter is an amazing guy. He's very, very open, and it was actually a very emotional recording, actually, and that is going to be live tomorrow. He talks about his life, which was started very, very badly, and basically someone taking a chance on him and getting him a job in a contact center turned his life around. And if in a small way this story can be shared, because now Peter's doing amazing, amazing things in the charity sector for the most needy in society, and it actually resulted in him being one of the last people to meet the Queen. I'm not making this up. It's amazing. That will be live tomorrow. So I'm assuming you are all subscribed to the podcast. Please do check it out. Peter is. I'm so grateful that I got a chance to meet him. That's tomorrow. Start of a long career, hopefully. Hey Sarah, how you doing? Yeah, it's the toss up between that and football. I love that you're exposing the younger generation into our awesome world of contact centers. I hope she's well. We do love a road trip. Pete Dunn, if the audience don't need to do or feel something after they've engaged with the com should not be published. It's likely just for someone else's ego. It's just likely. Oh, what's happened here? We've got a problem. Have I just entered a time machine? I appear to be watching the intro again. Happened to me too. Refresh. Oh no. Seems to have gone a bit wonky. Are you all still with me? We're back with Peter. Okay. Oh, these technical problems. I'm glad you're all. We're back in the room. Good. Lost you for a moment then. That was my best stuff just then as well. So yeah, I was just wittering on. You haven't really missed anything. I do just want to share something with you now, and this is if you have teams that might not be on LinkedIn, but they are on TikTok, why not point them to Get Out of Wrap TikTok? I just want to share with you some. This was yesterday's. I always do them when I'm walking Hugo. He's asleep in his crate at the moment, but let me just share this with you now. If you are a team leader in a contact center, then today, at the start of your team shift, why don't you ask them individually, what do they need from you today? How can you help them? Just those two questions. What do they need from you? And how can you help them? Because you might find out someone's got a technical issue. Someone's got a customer issue that they need help with, or a knowledge request. Or you might find out someone's not feeling it today. So asking those two simple questions is a real easy way of prioritizing your day in terms of helping your team, and shows them that you care right from the word go. Wait. Hi, Hugo. This is what he wants there. He's amputated the snowman's arm. He's actually given me a bad back on my walk this morning because he was pulling me to get to the ball throwing part of our walk. We do the same walk every day, which is a bad thing I'm doing actually, because he knows when it's time to throw balls, and he can be an absolute nightmare. But before you let him off the lead, I try and do a little TikTok every day. I'm a million miles away from being viral, but hopefully it's a way of just reaching people who might not be on LinkedIn, who in a small way they might get something that helps them during the day. I shared that with some team leaders that I'm working with, and just that tip yesterday, someone tried it out and said that they got a few responses back that they didn't expect. There's some things where unless you ask the question, people aren't saying, well, actually I do need help with this, or I have a problem with my headset, I've stuck with it for a few months, but it'll be good if we could have another one. And of course the team leader didn't know that was an issue, and was able to sort it out just by asking a couple of quick questions. So yeah, please do get on TikTok. Even if you don't post anything, it's a great resource. Do you know that people are now searching TikTok more than they're searching Google, which is astounding, really, isn't it? As we're getting to the end, again, I just want to share something. This is a very team leader centric episode today, but I just put this together, and I would love to know whether you think any of these 10 shouldn't be in a top 10, or there should be some additions. And I've just brain dumped really how to be a great team leader, do the work to become a great coach. Is there anything more important than being a great coach? I spend 65% of your day with your team. There's no science behind that. It's just a personal opinion. Be kind and positive at all times. Get a mentor, not your manager, someone that you can download with and benefit from their experience. Get organized, plan your day. That's a very tenuous link to my team leader daily planners. Understand your team members' why. One of the first mistakes I ever made was assuming everyone was motivated and thought the same way as me, which is, I'm in this industry, I want to do well, I'm going to be the best agent I can be, because I want to progress. Now, that was a big mistake because that wasn't not even half the team's why. Become a great listener, actively listen more than you talk. Deal with poor behavior consistently and calmly. Again, a mistake I made was not dealing with it. I just didn't want to have to upset the apple cart and hope things resolve themselves, which was poor, really. You've got to deal with poor behavior consistently and calmly. And also have fun, play games, in the podcast, Peter just said that part of his career, he loved it because he was just having fun and he laughed every single day, and also develop a growth mindset. And all of that entails only 65% with your team. Yes, the other 35 should be spent on ways to enable your team's success. Brilliant. I love that. Love number 6. Be curious. That's how you start the trust journey. Yeah, lovely. A lovely phrase. Thanks, Clayton. 8 is underrated. Failure to do this is a cultural no-no. Danny, I'd love your opinion on this. I heard something that said the culture of a company is determined by the worst behavior that they allow to go unpunished. What do you think of that? Because that's kind of stuck with me. Is the culture of a company is determined by the worst behavior that they allow to go unpunished. And with your skill set, I'd love to get your opinion on that. I keep saying this, I'm going to try and get more consistent, but I'm going to share all of this content in the newsletter. I'll try and find some time later today just to put all of it, and from last week's kind of talking into space one, all of the content that I've shared that you can share with your teams. Thanks, Bev. It is overlooked. We always want to do the fun, progressive stuff, but actually, poor behaviour and that kind of thing being dealt with is important, isn't it? Celebrate wins loudly and reprimand quietly. Love it. That's kind of praise in public, punish in private, Lance, isn't it? And it's a key skill to learn. Brilliant. It's true. Although it's also the best behaviours that are not recognised too. If you want to drive a beige customer service, tolerate poor behaviours and don't recognise the good stuff. Yeah, it's double-edged, isn't it? So in a positive way. Brilliant. Thank you, Danny. We are coming to the end. I don't want to keep you any longer. Sorry about the technical issues. I don't really know what happens. Make a big deal of the little things before the little things become a big deal. Tom, number 7. Being a great listener is so important. I'm lucky to have a manager who listens but also takes actions on what's been said. Brilliant. That's great. Because you're right. It's not just about listening, that there should be some, where appropriate or where needed, the action that comes from what you've learned is key, isn't it? So, Tom, thanks very much. Yeah, we're coming to the end. Thank you so much for joining. It's the highlight of my week doing this when you guys get engaged. I learned from you just in all of your brilliant comments. So I have one other favor to ask, actually, and that is this will become even more important in the next few weeks, and I will share with you why on one of these shows. But can you help? Can you recommend Get Out of Wrap as a resource to your team or to someone else in the industry? There's a number of ways to kind of find my content now. It's not just this, it's not just the podcast, but also YouTube and TikTok and Twitter, or lots of social media channels. Please if you haven't already, could you share Get Out of Wrap as a resource with your teams, and also with someone else in the industry as well? I would really, really appreciate it. Thank you for staying up, Alistair. Really do appreciate it. What an international show this is. So, guys, it's been brilliant. Thank you so much for your comments, and I hopefully over time will see you in person at some various events. So get your shout outs in to, if you want to be on the show or any other content, please do let me know. But thank you so much for watching. Thanks, Sarah. See you soon. And have a good day, everyone. Look after each other.